Zeroing in on a coin that is often dismissed as pocket change but can hold astonishing value, the United States Kennedy half-dollar from the year 1972. By 1972, the half-dollar had fully transitioned from silver to the clad composition, a core of pure copper clad in an alloy of copper and nickel. Millions were minted in both Philadelphia, with no mint mark, and Denver, carrying the D mint mark. This coin was intended for everyday use, and that fact is precisely what makes finding a top-tier specimen so incredibly difficult. Think about the environment these coins were created in. The U.S. Mint was operating at high speed, striking hundreds of millions of coins to keep up with demand. When production is this intense, the quality control is focused on getting the coins out the door, not on producing flawless works of art. These coins were struck, dumped into large bags, and sent out to banks, resulting in countless tiny nicks, scratches, and abrasions known as bag marks on almost every coin. The 1972 half-dollar's true value does not lie in its metal, but in its impeccable condition and its surprising varieties. Most 1972 halves you encounter are worth just 50 cents, maybe $1 or $2 in average uncirculated condition. The real prize, the key to unlocking the spectacular value, is the coin that has been professionally certified at the near-perfect grade of mint state 67 or higher. To achieve this, a 1972 coin must have escaped every single contact mark, retain a blazing, uninterrupted luster, and exhibit a full, sharp strike on all design elements. Now, let's talk about the incredible varieties hidden within the 1972 issue. This year is famous for one major, recognizable mint error that coin collectors call the No FG variety. The initials FG stand for Frank Gasparo, the designer of the reverse side of the coin, and they are typically found near the eagle's right leg. Due to a highly polished or excessively abraded die used at the Denver Mint, the die responsible for striking the reverse of a small number of these coins had the designer's tiny initials completely erased or nearly so. This small absence transforms the coin entirely. While a regular 1972D half-dollar is worth next to nothing, the 1972D No FG half-dollar is an authenticated, recognized error that is highly sought after. These rare varieties, particularly those in high-grade uncirculated condition, trade for thousands of dollars. Finding one of these coins in a bankroll is the numismatic equivalent of winning a small lottery. But the real, sensational value comes from the absolute rarest of the rare, a coin that combines a severe, dramatic minting error, such as being struck on the wrong metal blank entirely, or a massive double die error, with a state of near-perfect preservation. These coins are often called freaks by collectors, and they are unique anomalies that command top dollar. Imagine a 1972 half-dollar struck on a cent planchet, or one with a massive off-center strike that distorts the entire design, yet the visible surface remains pristine and untouched. These ultra-rare combinations are why you must inspect every 1972 half-dollar you encounter. Look for the sharpest details on President Kennedy's hair, the clarity of the stars on the reverse, and most importantly, check below the eagle's right leg for those missing or weak FG initials. The market for these certified, top-tier error and condition rarities is a world of fierce competition. For a singular, flawless, error-free coin certified at the absolute highest possible grade, or a one-of-a-kind, spectacular, major mint error that survived in museum-quality condition, the price realized at auction has soared to an incredible $78,000. So, next time you see a 1972 half-dollar, remember its secret potential. It might just be the ordinary circulation piece, or it might be a stunning anomaly waiting to be discovered. Today, we are traveling back in time to the dawn of a new millennium to explore a coin that holds a very special place in modern numismatics, the United States 2000 Kennedy half-dollar. Now, at first glance, the 2000 half-dollar, struck 36 years after the series began, looks like just another 50-cent piece. It is the standard clad composition, copper and nickel, and millions were minted. But this date marks a major turning point, a time when the coin's status shifted entirely, creating a surprising scenario where the humble 50-cent coin could become a high-value rarity. The year 2000 was a time of immense change in American coinage. This was the era of the state quarters boom and the introduction of the Sacagawea dollar. The U.S. Mint was focusing its production efforts, and one of the consequences was the quiet but profound change to the half-dollar. For a full 3 years, from 2002 through 2004, the U.S. Mint stopped producing Kennedy half-dollars for general circulation altogether. The 2000 half-dollar, therefore, is one of the last issues of its kind before this major break. It was minted in Philadelphia, bearing the P mint mark, and in Denver, bearing the D mint mark. Although the mintage numbers, around 22 million for Philadelphia and 19 million for Denver, seem large, they were much lower than the staggering figures of the 1960s and 70s. The real secret to the 2000 half-dollar's value lies in its condition rarity. Because the half-dollar had all but disappeared from commerce by the year 2000, most of these coins were hoarded by the public or simply kept in mint sets. This means the vast majority of coins that saw circulation are still in relatively decent shape, but few were ever saved and preserved with the meticulous care required to achieve the highest possible grade. The game here is the pursuit of perfection. To understand the extreme worth of this coin, we have to look beyond the average uncirculated specimen. We are looking for a coin that is essentially a miracle of modern minting, a piece that escaped every microabrasion, every tiny bag mark, and every trace of tarnish. When we examine the coin, we are checking the fine details of the masterwork by Gilroy Roberts and Frank Gasparo. On the bust of President Kennedy, you must look for needle-sharp detail in the hair, especially right above the ear. The tiny motto "I in God We Trust" must be completely clear, without any sign of a weak strike. On the reverse, the 50 stars surrounding the presidential seal must be distinct and fully separated, and the eagle's breast feathers must show excellent definition and brilliance. A 2000 half-dollar pulled from a bankroll will look nice, but it will not have the flawless surfaces required to be called a gem uncirculated coin. A coin that achieves the coveted, technically perfect grade of Mint State 70, or MS-70, is a coin where the value explodes exponentially. Experts consider an MS-70 modern coin to be statistically near impossible, representing the perfect alignment of die quality, strike pressure, and post-mint handling. While there are many standard 2000 half-dollars out there, the few that have been certified by professional grading agencies as truly flawless are the coins that command the headlines. The scarcity of these perfect survivors creates a fierce bidding war among high-end collectors and numismatic investors. This is not about the metal content, it is about the rarity of the grade for a year that collectors initially overlooked. The extraordinary value is not for the circulated coin you find in your spare change, but for that singular, pristine example, a coin that represents the zenith of the U.S. Mint's capability for the year 2000. It is a stunning display of conditioned scarcity, turning a clad coin into a blue-chip asset. For the most immaculate, museum-quality specimen of the 2000 P or D Kennedy half-dollar, having been professionally certified at the absolute highest possible grade, the value realized at public auction has reached the jaw-dropping amount of $67,000. We are digging into a Kennedy half-dollar that many consider common, perhaps even boring, but which hides a sensational secret. We are talking about the United States half-dollar from the year 1973. The 1973 Kennedy half-dollar sits squarely in the middle of a significant era for American coinage. By this time, the coin was struck in the standard copper-nickel clad composition, meaning no silver content. It was minted in large numbers both in Philadelphia, which carried no mint mark, and in Denver, bearing the D mark. Most people assume these coins are only worth their 50-cent face value, and they are largely correct for any circulated piece you might pull from a roll. However, the year 1973 is a prime example of how condition and rarity in grade can turn an ordinary coin into an extraordinary treasure. Let's set the stage. The U.S. Mint produced the 1973 half-dollars for general circulation. Unlike later issues in the 1980s and 1990s, the mintage was relatively high, in the tens of millions. This abundance is precisely what makes finding a flawless specimen so difficult and valuable. When a coin is produced in massive quantities, the minting equipment is overworked. Dies wear out quickly, and the chances of a coin receiving a perfect, full, and detailed strike are significantly reduced. Furthermore, high mintage means coins were quickly bagged up, shipped out, and dumped into commerce, leading to widespread contact marks, scratches, and abrasions. The hunt for the 1973 half-dollar is a search for an MS-67 or higher graded coin, a true survivor that somehow escaped the wear and tear of its chaotic mass production and distribution. We are looking for a coin that, despite its common origins, looks like it was minted yesterday. To know if you have a potential treasure, you must meticulously examine the design elements. On the obverse, the portrait of President Kennedy, look for an absolute brilliance of luster, with no cloudy haze or toning, and crisp, sharp hair detail above the ear and at the back of the neck. Any minuscule scratch or nick here drastically reduces the value. On the reverse, depicting the presidential seal, the coin's rarity is often determined by the striking quality of the eagle's feathers. These feathers must be clearly defined, three-dimensional, and not flat or smeared. The stars around the eagle's head must be fully separated, shining with brilliance. It is these microscopic details, confirmed under high magnification by professional grading services, that separate a $1 coin from a masterpiece. The real key to the astonishing top-end value is in finding two things: the nearly perfect condition rarity we just described, or a unique error variety. In the world of the 1973 half-dollar, an extremely small number of coins were struck with rare and dramatic errors. These are the unique mistakes that occurred during the minting process, creating one-of-a-kind oddities. This could include a significant doubling of the die on the motto "In God We Trust" or the date, a spectacular off-center strike where the image is partially missing, or even a coin struck on the wrong type of blank planchet entirely. These catastrophic mistakes are rare in all modern coinage, but when they do happen, they turn a 50-cent piece into a world-class collectible because of their unique, verifiable, and often spectacular nature. The market for these certified, top-grade, or major era 1973 Kennedy half-dollars is extremely competitive. While an average uncirculated coin might fetch a few dollars, the truly exceptional pieces are the blue chips of the modern coin market. They are the trophies that showcase a collector's dedication to perfection and the history of minting processes. It all comes down to finding that needle in the haystack, that perfect surface, the flawless strike, or that one-in-a-million minting mistake. For the one single, absolutely top-graded, spectacular error or condition rarity specimen of the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar ever sold, a coin so rare it is practically a legend, its value has soared to an incredible $55,000. Stepping into the fascinating world of American half-dollars once again, but this time, we're focusing on a year that doesn't get nearly enough attention: 1986. Many collectors overlook this coin because it's not from the early silver era and not from the modern collector-only run. But what they don't realize is that the Kennedy half-dollar from 1986 hides a surprising story of rarity, minting secrets, and potential value that may shock you by the end of this video. To truly appreciate this coin, let's rewind to the year 1986. America was in the middle of dramatic cultural and economic shifts. Technology was evolving, music was changing, and the country was finding its way through the final stretch of the Cold War. In the middle of all this, the U.S. Mint continued the production of the iconic Kennedy half-dollar, an enduring symbol of hope, strength, and the American spirit. Though half-dollars were still being minted in 1986, people were using them less and less in everyday transactions. Vending machines didn't accept them, stores rarely gave them as change, and banks didn't order large quantities anymore. That means fewer of these coins actually made it into circulation. Most were either saved unintentionally, stored away, or forgotten in drawers and boxes. And this shift created the perfect opportunity for rare finds. Now let's talk about the design that gives this coin its unmistakable character. On the front is the timeless portrait of President John F. Kennedy, strong, calm, and forever memorialized in one of the most beloved coin designs in U.S. history. The year 1986 sits at the bottom, marking a moment many collectors never realized would become meaningful decades later. The inscriptions around the portrait, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," give the coin a sense of dignity and national pride. Flip it over, and the reverse design remains one of the most incredible images in American coinage. The presidential seal spreads across the surface with its powerful eagle holding arrows in one talon and an olive branch in the other. The detailed feathers, the shield on the eagle's chest, and the ring of 50 stars make this design an icon of American heritage. Even today, the sight of the Kennedy half-dollar instantly brings a sense of patriotism and nostalgia. But here's where the story of the 1986 Kennedy half-dollar gets exciting. While millions were minted, the condition of surviving coins varies massively. Most of the pieces that entered circulation show scratches, scuffs, or dulling from years of handling. But the real prizes, the ones collectors dream of finding, are those that survived in extraordinary condition. Coins with razor-sharp details, glossy luster, and absolutely no signs of wear are extremely rare for this year. On top of condition rarity, there's also the thrill of minting anomalies. Tiny imperfections created during production, doubling in lettering, die cracks, misaligned strikes, unusual metal flow, or incomplete impressions, can elevate a regular coin into the category of highly collectible treasures. These small variations are like fingerprints, unique to each coin, and serious collectors will pay huge premiums for exceptional examples. Another detail many people don't know is that by the mid-1980s, collecting trends began shifting. Some people bought mint sets and then forgot about them for decades. That means some pristine 1986 Kennedy half-dollars still lie untouched in sealed government packaging, waiting to be rediscovered. But not all mint set coins are equal. Only a tiny fraction have the flawless surfaces and perfect strikes needed to reach the highest grading levels. And when you combine an untouched condition with the right mint characteristics, the value can climb far beyond what anyone expects from a coin made in the 1980s. That's the beauty of numismatics. The right coin, preserved with care, can become a true treasure. Now the moment you've been waiting for has arrived. After exploring the history, the design, the rarity, and the hidden potential of this often overlooked coin, you may be wondering just how much the finest examples of the 1986 Kennedy half-dollar can bring today. A remarkably preserved, extremely high-grade specimen with exceptional qualities has been valued at an incredible $55,000. So before you toss aside those old half-dollars or overlook the ones tucked away in a family collection, take a moment to look closely. You never know what kind of treasure you might be holding. And if you enjoyed today's deep dive into this fascinating piece of American coinage, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another rare coin discovery. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy collecting!